Bam! What is up, everybody?
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to The Leap. I'm Steve Lucas.
I'm Tim Hughes.
And welcome to, our new temporary surroundings here. New little change of pace. We actually both rocking different mics this time. So, also want to say quickly, we apologize for last week. We were both super sick. Gentleman, the champ over here was in the hospital. We're definitely glad to see him back. Glad to see that he's okay. So we kind of had to not have our episode go last week because, health. Health and safety of the team is always going to be more important. Going into what we were just literally talking about there, about the Browns here. Needing a receiver, somebody to step it up.
I mean, their running backs are so good.
Yeah.
And they're keeping them in the picture. I mean, they're 3-2, I think now.
I think so, yeah. Here, we can double check that. I don't know that. They lost to the Chargers last week.
Yeah, tough matchups against.
That was a tough one. Weren't they in SoFi for that
game?
Yeah.
They were in. Oh my God.
Well, look at it this way, man. They lost. I know a lot of people are about the Chiefs right now, but the Chiefs are still a playoff contending, possible championship contending team. I don't care how many games they've lost against good teams. It's if they got. Let's be real about this here. The Browns are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Them losing to the Chiefs isn't that big of a thing. Them losing to the Chargers isn't that big of a thing. But their running back core is keeping them in games.
Oh, completely. They're just so dominant. I mean, jeez.
Yeah. Chubb and friggin' Hunt are absolutely crushing it right now.
Exactly.
And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're absolutely freaking crushing it right now. And I think that seeing Jarvis Landry go down kills a lot.
Oh, completely, because you didn't have Beckham Jr. there at the start of the season, so you had no receivers really, other than maybe Higgins. And what was it? What was the tight end? Nick.
Njoku and Hooper.
Okay. Yeah.
And those guys have been really picking things up. I think the one thing that the Browns that they're doing that's really kind of changing the game is the fact that they do have two number one running backs. They have that amazing offensive line. They can control the pace of the game.
Oh, completely.
In ways that other teams just really aren't able to do right now, because a lot of these teams are very pass-centric. They want to have a quarterback that's going to, go all huck-and-chuck at football all the time. Whereas, Baker Mayfield can make those throws. He does make those throws, but he doesn't have to.
But it's more of a time management thing, I think, than just trying to sling it.
And I see whenever people try to give Baker Mayfield shit sometimes for not making particular throws. And it's do you guys realize how many opportunities he has to throw the ball game?
Not too many.
Right, their offense is based off of running the football.
Right.
That's what Stefanski likes to do. He loves to run the football. So
it takes so much time off the clock too.
Right. It's not really going to matter who you have out there. Are there some of those throws that Baker should be doing better on? Well, yeah, clearly. But, don't write off the guy simply because he's, he hands the ball off 40, 50 times a damn game and he's only throwing 20.
That's not his fault.
You can't really get on the guy's ass for that, can you?
No, I mean, it's just coaches' decisions more.
Well, right, they're just trying to play smart, but no, I think they definitely. I like the fact of seeing OBJ coming back though. It seems like the return of OBJ has been pretty good. He's been making catches. Like, it seems like he's kind of knocking the rust off a little bit. I remember the one throw in particular where people, like, there's this throw where, like, he ends up throwing over Odell by, like, 10 yards or something. And Odell kind of was like, what do we do here? And it's kind of like, hey, man, like, you're
gotta
just
get the
getting
timing.
back, man.
Yeah, you gotta get the timing.
You and Baker do not have your timing anymore. It's going to be the same thing when Jarvis comes back.
Right.
It's going to take them a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, he's not throwing to you guys every single day anymore. Like, he really has.
He doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't. Like, I think, since we were just talking about receivers here, let's bring this up into the other thing we were talking about here, about how Devontae Adams, clear cut, no doubts, in either of our minds anyway, number one receiver in the league.
And it's not just because we're Packer fans.
No, it's not
even
anything
just
being biased. We just got to look at the stats here. I mean, hell, last week,
206 yards.
206 yards with a touchdown. Off of 11 receptions off of 16 targets.
And there was another one where he should have had it, but the pass was just a little bit off, I think. So he could have easily had 2 touchdowns in the game. But, I mean...
Well, yeah, he could have, but, I mean... I think, hold up here. I think that there's a lot of... I guess, I wouldn't necessarily want to say... I think people are kind of underestimating what Devontae Adams can do on a football field. And I'll admit, I was one of those guys where I was 110% on that. Like, I really wasn't sure what the hell to expect from this dude. Simply because of the fact that he just wasn't making catches. Like, he was dropping balls. He was not able to get good separation and coverage in those early years. Like, yeah, he was able to route run really well, but, like, he didn't... I felt like a lot of times he would let guys kind of bully him about a bit, and he wasn't willing to fight for balls. Nowadays, it's like, nope, there's no doubt about it, man.
Yeah.
Like, this dude
He's
is...
taking his game to the next level.
Oh, yeah, and it's kind of like where I feel a lot of these other guys... people like D-Hop and stuff like that, they need to start catching up. Like, yes, D-Hop is amazing at making these great, crazy-ass catches and everything like that. But to me, it's like, Adams has an ability to take over a game with his play. Whereas Hopkins is the type of guy where, like, yes, he's the type of guy you want to find in a clutch moment. But, like, does he take over a game like Adams does necessarily? No, it's kind of like, hey, if you just need one big play, you're going to go to Hopkins. Whereas Adams, it's like, you can keep going to him and keep going to him and keep going to him, and it's not going to matter. He's going to shred you up. Like...
Yeah, double teams doesn't even matter, really, because he's...
Not so much anymore. Like, I see some Megatron moments out of Adams lately. Like,
I can see that.
You see that double team, and he's not afraid to go up there and be like, nope, mine, bitch. Like, I'm getting that son of a bitch. Like, it's fucking happening. And I feel like a lot of these other receivers are going to have to start catching up to Adams. Actually, bringing into this, I saw this thing from this one cat that I follow on fucking TikTok. He's a Bears fan. And... kind of talking about the whole Rodgers and Adams thing, and they were talking, it was kind of funny, a little bit of a weird segue here, but he was talking about how they shouldn't be using, the Packers and Adams and Rodgers should not be using the Last Dance reference to this season, because it's an insult to Michael Jordan, because Adams and Rodgers have not won a championship together. And I'll admit it, I immediately jumped in that dude's comment section. I'm like, first off, dude, understand your topic before you bring it up. Because the fact that you say that Rodgers and Adams are using that, they didn't use that term until after the media brought that up for like almost an entire week. And they were doing that specifically for the fact of Rodgers leaving and the chance that he is going to be leaving. So
And
the
maybe
media,
even Adams.
right? Like chances are, no matter honestly, I feel like at this point, no matter what happens, both of them are probably gone
Right.
after this year. But when I see this guy literally being like, "Don't use the Last Dance reference," and it's like, they didn't use it until after y'all started using it, bro. Like until after the freaking media started throwing it out there, because they were throwing it out there a lot. I watched it, Good Morning Football, NFL Fantasy Live, ESPN, everybody and their freaking mom was using this term. So you can't get mad at them. Like even Rodgers in that one press conference where he's like, the whole Last Dance, he kind of rolled his eyes at it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like the comparison, so it's kind of like
No, I mean it's and again it's the media that's putting that out there. It's not the Packers. I mean,
no. I think the Packers are probably just kind of they're probably riding that momentum because they saw that everybody else is throwing it out there, and they're like, "Well, screw it, we'll just do what we're gonna do, and then that's it." But like, I don't know. To me, it's. Like, I've been seeing that a lot from some of these guys. Like, I've been seeing it a lot from people who are just trying to find any reason they can right now to bash on the Packers, especially people from that are fans of rivals of the Packers, where, like, they just want to throw this stuff out there as a way to trash it and be kind of like, ha ha ha, this is your last opportunity to go ahead and get one with these guys, because we know for a fact, and I even know for a fact too, if we don't get it this year, we're not going to get another opportunity for a while. Probably for a long time.
yeah,
Like,
they don't. Opportunities like that don't come around very often. If you don't capitalize on them, you're gonna do exactly what the Packers have done the last 2 years, which is go to the championship game and get nothing out of it.
right.
You know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I'm not saying that going to the championship game isn't good, but if you don't go to the big dance, you might as well just stay home.
I'll admit, seeing Rodgers and then seeing the Packers being 1-4 in NFC Championship games since Rodgers has been there is fucking embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
It is and
I mean, because they're always home field advantage for the most part. I think there's only been one game that hasn't been home field.
Two of them.
Two. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, out of the ones that we lost, I think it was just the one. That was that one in Seattle.
Yeah.
Because when we went to Chicago in 2011, well, I guess yeah. So when we went to Chicago, when we won that Super Bowl that they got, that was in Chicago. But like, yeah, no. Otherwise, well, no. Actually, there was a couple of them because you remember the one we lost to Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
We were in Atlanta for that one because
that's
Atlanta was #1 freaking team in the league. In the last 2 years, I know we've had home field advantage on that one with LaFleur as the coach. And I think it's kind of sad that people are getting on LaFleur's ass a little bit about it because it's like, dude, 2 years, back-to-back NFC Championship appearances, and people are ready to write him off already. Some people, not everybody,
Yeah.
but some people are wanting to write him off already, and it's kind of like,
No.
why?
Yeah.
Like, hold on a second here, guys. Like, you guys are trying to write this dude off and you guys think that it's all because Aaron Rodgers is there, and it's like, yeah, Aaron played a pivotal role of getting us there, but like, if it wasn't for LaFleur and his offense, do you really think that Rodgers would have had the opportunities to get where we were?
No.
No. Like Rodgers won an MVP off of LaFleur's offense. Like, yeah, he won 2 of them under McCarthy's offense, but let's be real here. McCarthy really, like, I'm sorry, I think McCarthy needs to go. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I don't care how good the Cowboys are playing right now. They are not playing that well because of Mike McCarthy. They're not. I'm sorry. It's just not happening, okay? They're playing that well because Kellen Moore has turned out to be the best offensive coordinator in football.
Mastermind.
The dude is a beast. Like, and it's really cool to see. I know we've talked about Kellen Moore before, but like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I seriously think that this kid is probably gonna end up going and being probably one of the best coaches the league has ever had. Simply because of the fact that, like, he was a great player in college. Yeah, his career didn't really take off in the NFL, but he kept fighting and he found a spot to be this guy. Like, because I remember when he first started coaching, it was just he run and stepped in as QB coach, and then when like now he's going and probably going to help frickin' Dak get a goddamn MVP.
Yep.
Like, crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Like,
I mean, and just think about all the weapons Dallas has where he can just, like,
oh my gosh, they can
take
do it.
and move all those different pieces around.
They can do whatever the fuck they
Oh,
want.
exactly.
Like,
I mean,
the only real weakness I see on that Dallas offense is the weaknesses in that offensive front.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's not even really that bad because Dallas still has a pretty good offensive line.
Right.
You know, like,
They're
it's
better
not.
than they were last year, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, considering the fact
mean-
that Dak's leg didn't pull one of these right away at the
yeah.
beginning of the season. Yeah, that's.
And I mean, I
that's
think that
fantastic.
you can equate some of Zeke's success to Kellen definitely.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'll admit it that Zeke has picked it up in the last couple of weeks.
Well, he came to play. You can tell. I mean, he has a drive that wasn't there for probably 2-3 years.
I agree. Like, I feel like this year, the Cowboys got a new, like, a renewed sense of, like, just fire up the ass. You know what I mean? Like, they just know, like, hey, we have a fucking squad.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And
like-
their defense is starting to play a lot better.
Right.
They're
yeah,
not the
they're
joke
not.
they were last year.
No, they're definitely not an elite defense by any means. However, I will say this, and I've been seeing a lot of people say stuff on this, and I gotta say that I agree. Trayvon Diggs is probably the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year right now.
Oh my God. they got
I mean,
some
the
great-
guy is playing great football, and he is not allowing people to freaking get past him, and he's making quarterbacks look foolish.
Oh,
With some
yeah.
of these picks, like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
oh, like, I really, like, he keeps playing like that, I can see him getting Defensive
Now, is
Player
that
of the Year.
Stephon Diggs' brother?
Yep,
Okay.
yes sir.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I remember when I first heard of him, when the Dallas scooped him up, I was kind of like, huh, Diggs, I wonder if he's related to Stephon Diggs. So I decided to look that up, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's his brother. Like, right fucking on, dude. Like, I think that's pretty great that, like, you know, Stephon, who's a top 5 fucking receiver in the league right now, and then he's got his freaking brother who, I mean, before this year, I was going to say maybe a top 10, top 15 defensive back, but right now, he's playing like
Top 5,
top 3.
top 3.
Top 3, probably. In my opinion, probably Diggs, Ramsey.
Well, Ramsey's always tough. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like Ramsey's always going to be a freaking monster on that. And then, I mean, I want to throw Jair in there, like, for top 3. Like, honestly, I think Jair is probably one of the best in the league. Yeah, that's probably me being a touch biased, being a Packer fan, but, like, the thing is that I know he's out right now, but the numbers don't really lie. You know, he does not get burned on very often. He does not allow very big plays. He's never been one for that. So, like, I think he's, I don't know, I think Diggs is probably going to end up getting that. There's not really, like, one of the things that's kind of crazy is a lot of these guys that you normally would expect to be, like, top defensive players really have been kind of either been a, like, that mediocre stage or really haven't been producing at the way that you would think they would be.
Yeah, this season's been kind of an anomaly. I mean,
It has.
it doesn't seem like it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. I mean, even in
never
fantasy
really
wise.
Oh god,
You know,
fantasy has been a goddamn nightmare this year, in my opinion.
I agree, because it's hard to predict. I mean, it's all luck, really. I mean,
Yeah, there's only been a few moments this year in fantasy wise where I feel like we have been like, okay, we are on, like, okay, you've been on your team all goddamn year because you're projected to go and get yourself your 4th fucking ring this year. But like,
well, let's be honest. That
I know, I'm just throwing shit for the sake of it. But I mean, the thing is like looking at like your record and everything like that. Like, I think looking at how our records are in our league, like looking at it right now, we only got 2 teams that have 1 win, and that's Dave and T. They're both 1-4. Those guys are doing, sorry boys, but you guys aren't exactly doing the greatest. Everybody else is at 3-2 or 2-3. Golden is at Jordan's at 4-1. He's the only one. He's doing fantastic this year. But like when I'm looking at like a lot of this, like a lot of the people that like you normally would expect to be at that top, and I'm not talking about like just in our league, but just like fantasy guys in general. Like, I did not expect Tyreek Hill to be busting out the way that he has been.
Oh yeah.
I haven't expected that. Like, I really didn't. It's kind of crazy. I didn't expect not Cooper Kupp, but Robert Woods to flop the way that he's been flopping.
Yeah, and it's sad because Robert Woods is a good player.
Right.
I've had him for 2 out of 3 years, I think. I don't have him this year because I had a feeling it just wasn't going to work. And I knew that Stafford and Cooper Kupp had kind of a better chemistry. And Kupp was gone by the time I was going to be able to scoop him up anyway. But, yeah, Robert Woods, he had a good game. Was it last week where he had I want to say he had 150 yards?
I would have to take a look on that.
I think he had I want to say he had about 150 yards. And because I know, I'm not really sure. I know he was catching a lot of passes. Every time I was looking at the game, and it wasn't much because I was pretty sick still, so I really didn't watch much of that Seattle Rams game at all. I was pretty much sleeping throughout the whole thing.
Well, let's see here. This last week here against Seattle, Robert Woods, it's the first week he's had double-digit targets. First week he's had double-digit receptions. The only week he's gotten over 100 yards. And this week and last week are the only weeks that he's gotten double-digit points in standard scoring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's so hard to say because you know that Cooper Kupp's going to get his yards. You know that probably one of them, either Deshaun Jackson or Van Jefferson or whoever is the 3rd or 4th receiver is going to probably get a big yard. Get a couple big yards out of that, but.
See, that's one that's kind of thrown me off a little bit is freaking Djax.
Yeah.
They're in this freaking Rams offense. Because,
works pretty well.
He's been that... It's kind of... I like seeing him go into an offense where he's able to do the things that he does best. Just being that spark plug type of guy where you put him anywhere on the field, you find that mismatch and just let the boy fly. And he's been... it's kind of crazy seeing him in McVay's offense doing that because, the last couple of years, offenses really haven't been using him like that. They've been trying.
Well, he's been injured so much. I mean, he hasn't been playing, and I think that's why it's working is because he doesn't have to be in on every play, or even every series.
Well, also, I feel like he's in an offense that actually works well for his skill set. Because I feel like a lot of times he's been on teams lately where or just in offenses where they didn't really know how to use him, so they tried to use him in a more traditional sense. And it's like, that's not what you do with a guy like that.
Oh, no.
Like,
No.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take a guy like Djax. I don't care if he's my best player on the field. I'm not going to just keep lining him up on the same spot on the same people every single play.
Well,
I'm going to put him all over the damn place.
Yeah, exactly. Why
Like,
would you do that?
And there's some teams that would do that, but I feel like there was some times where, like, when he was in Washington for those few years, they did not utilize him the way they should have.
Oh, it was
in my
totally
opinion.
vanilla. It was.
Yeah,
It was.
well, because they pretty much just threw him on the outside one-on-one with a lot of these guys, and they would be like, okay, go out and run these routes, like single coverage, try to throw, like, go high, and it's like, why would you do that when you got a guy that can split across the middle of the field and give your quarterback opportunities to get the ball off to him quickly and let him do what he does in open space? Like, I'm not going to throw Djax and just hope that he's going to catch a Hail Mary. No, I'm going to have him going across all over the damn place.
Oh,
like,
completely.
use him properly. Like, one of the things that I saw that Washington almost never did with him, and I see that they do a lot of in LA, is they love using Djax on quick little wide receiver screens. You know, you throw like Higbee and Cup out there at the block on a trip. You dump it out to Djax right quick, and you just let him see if he can get a quick little jet for some yards. Like, that's what you guys should be doing with this fucker, because like that's how this guy can win for you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into. Let's go ahead and get into our underrated killers of the week here. We're gonna do both week 4 and week 5 this week here, because obviously for last week. So week 4 is, we kind of threw this up together here quick. I have James Conner finding his spot here in this Arizona offense. I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot of people didn't, and myself included, really wasn't sure how this Arizona running back room is going to be. But Conner has kind of found his spot in there. And like week 4, he only had 50 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. He's pretty much just a nice red zone guy.
Oh yeah.
He's a guy that Murray and Kingsbury trust that be able to get shit done in that in the red zone, and that's really nice. Like, it's nice to see, especially after like what happened with him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that is a shame because, he's a good running back. It's just he could just never stay healthy.
Right. He could never do it.
No.
And he couldn't ever stay healthy for a full year. And it sucks. Because, like, he could have been so much... It's kind of a shame because, like, when I saw him in Pittsburgh, I always loved the idea of his story. Because you've heard his story, right?
Yeah.
About when he was in college and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was by far one of the best things I had ever seen, in my opinion. Basically because of the fact that, like, it's hard for guys to do that and come back. I've noticed over the last few years there's been a lot of people in the league who've gotten cancer and beat it. Well, not just beat it, but beat its ass and then come back.
Right.
And seeing him do that in college, being from Pennsylvania, see this guy do that and then go ahead and win ACC Player of the Year. And then go ahead and get drafted by the Steelers, staying in Pittsburgh. It was kind of like that fairy tale type thing. Like, I might not be a Steelers fan, but I love watching that local hero kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've always loved that. Those are the types of stories in sports that always kind of give you a little extra kick in the pants,
Yeah.
And like,
kind of if J.J. Watt had stayed in Wisconsin as opposed to going to Houston.
Well, I mean, I would have loved him to see him come to Green Bay over going to Arizona, but I understand why he did it.
It makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get it, and especially seeing how Arizona's playing right now, I absolutely get it. Like JJ thought, like D-Hop was like, hey man, we're going and running for a ring this year. Come on, one of us. And he was like, yeah.
I forgot. I never even, until you just mentioned that, I never even considered the D-Hop.
D-Hop had a huge part to play in that.
Wow, I had no idea.
He actually, well, I mean, when I'm playing in Houston and everything, like, but also it's like, I'm sure that, like, Watt went and he weighed all of his options, and I'm pretty sure he probably, I'm wondering now, thinking about that, going completely off topic, because we were talking about Connor here, and we got to go into week 5. No, it's fine, dude. I feel like these little random bits is always what gives us some of our best dialogue. I feel like there's a possibility that maybe because there was talk of JJ coming to Green Bay.
Oh yeah.
And I think I'm kind of wondering if maybe JJ kind of saw what was going on with the whole Rodgers thing and seeing what was happening there. Maybe he didn't want to sign any type of term deal, like any longer term deal with a team that, like, what, he shows up, they get one shot at possibly going and getting a ring, and then the team's a donkey.
Right. Exactly.
Whereas he can go to Arizona where everything is set up for the next 5 years.
Yep, exactly.
Go ahead. Hold on, let me grab this little guy. Oh. Somebody wants to come and join the show too.
Yep.
So there's a Wedge. There's a Battle Buddy. Hi there, pal. Yeah, I could see that though. Like, I could see where it could be something where JJ kind of saw, is like, man, is this something I want to do? Or I could go over here, man, and
for a few years.
Yeah,
and end up possibly retiring, with a few rings.
Yeah, with one or possibly multiple rings. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, because Arizona's got a squad right now, dude. Like, those guys
They're
are
talented,
destroying people. Like,
the thing is, I mean, there really isn't that big of a weakness. I mean, maybe defensive, the secondary's not as great as they used to be, but
that front seven is disgusting
that
right
front
now.
seven is disgusting.
That Arizona
I agree.
defense is just nasty.
Yeah, it really is. I agree.
It is nasty, dude.
And you actually brought it up one time when we were talking, and I didn't even see it until you brought it up. I didn't really see how good they were, and I think that's another team with, like, Buffalo.
That's my
where
foot, buddy.
what?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Wedge was licking my foot and it tickled.
Where, like, Buffalo has, like, pretty much all aspects of their game figured out. I think Arizona's probably that team in the NFC.
I agree.
They're still undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing.
They're the only undefeated team at this point.
Yeah,
like
5-0.
Yeah, I didn't think that I didn't think that they were going to lose to LA. I figured it was, if Arizona was going to beat LA, it was going to be close, which it was. But I kind of figured that LA was going to be the one game where it's like, okay, Arizona, smack that down a little bit and be like, oh, here we go. But, like, no, like, I love the fact that, but like we were talking before in previous weeks, man, NFC West, AFC West is such a toss-up because all those teams are very good. And
definitely.
It's kind of rough to see. It's kind of rough to determine, like, which team's going to end up on top there. Week 4 was James Conner. This last week's underrated killer of the week, I think it goes without saying, Dawson Knox.
I agree.
I mean, I didn't see this happening. This guy has been the most consistent tight end in all of fantasy, in all of football this year. I know a lot of people are throwing Gronk out there, but, Gronk's always been kind of up and down with injury.
Yep.
This guy is a monster. And he's
man.
turning into probably Allen's second favorite target outside of Diggs.
Right.
Well, I think the biggest reason why I like to throw the main reason why I wanted to put him in as underrated killer of the week was the fact that last year he was a drop machine. He didn't really have that good of a year, and that's why I kind of slept on him. I was like, this dude had more drops than he did catches, it seemed like. Like, why would I want to go ahead and put it in there? And then going and scooping him up last week, he was a pivotal part of my win.
Yep.
You know,
exactly. And who was the one that told you about him?
You were the one who told me about him. That is right. I was kind of poking around looking at things. That when you mentioned him, I was kind of like, I'll take a look at it. And then looking at his numbers, it's like...
His numbers are
ridiculous. Good. I don't think he has a single week without a touchdown.
He doesn't?
Yeah, he did. Hold on, I'll bring this up right freaking meow. As far as if I remember correctly... Hold up here.
Yeah, I think he has a touchdown in every game.
All except for week 1.
Oh.
So week 1 was his worst performance. Well, I guess technically you could say week 2 is his worst overall performance, but like he got more points. So like 4 for 4 week 1 with 44 yards, no touchdowns. Week 2, weeks 2 through 5, he has at least 1 touchdown. And the thing is he hasn't gotten double-digit targets in any of those weeks.
Crazy.
Yeah. So like the most targets he's had was 8 targets, and that was against Houston, where he got the 5 receptions for 37 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But I mean, when you have Emmanuel Sanders and you have
Stephon Diggs and Beasley,
yeah,
and Singletary's actually picking it up for them.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of hard to find. Like, I think the best thing about this is that he might be getting, on average, he's getting around. You might want to say with everything, maybe around 5 targets a game. He's averaging maybe 3 targets, 4 targets, or 3 or 4 catches. But when he's getting those catches, he's utilizing his opportunities.
Against Kansas City, there was that one catch where basically he just turns around, gets it, and just starts running. And that was just like, holy shit.
Because freaking the dude who was covering him, that was a big part of the freaking Kansas City Thierry Mathau. Man, fucking Honey Badger, dude, he is pissed at number 49, Sorensen. Like, it's kind of crazy. Hold on a sec here. Sorry, I gotta... What's this about here? Sorry, my boss was messaging me there. So, fuck, where was I at? Oh yeah, Sorensen. He has been allowing people to run past him, and pretty much every time it happens, you see Mathau covering his guy, and then just looking out and seeing him, and like there's been a couple of times in the last couple of weeks where he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that now we kind of see where the heck that big, huge freaking problem in that Kansas City defense is right now, because holy crap. But yeah, Dawson Knox, week 5 underrated killer of the week. Dude's absolutely freaking crushing it right now, and I think that he's probably going to end up going down as... I mean, honestly, I know a lot of people were thinking, Kelsey, Hawkinson, possibly even Gronk were going to be the top guys, but...
It's not even...
Not even close at this point.
Really
like,
isn't.
Kelsey is...
I mean...
Kelsey's playing well,
yeah,
but...
Mark Andrews stepped up big time this week.
Yeah, he did.
Big game. And
Yeah,
of course,
he did.
guess who didn't have him in his lineup because I thought Dalton Schultz was going to be the answer. But it didn't matter anyway.
I mean, it happens. I mean, honestly, dude, how
Kyle
many
Pitts. All I can say is Kyle Pitts is the Pitts for me this year. It's so hard to figure out, man. I've been trying so hard. And so I don't drop him because that would be stupid. But I take him out of my lineup, put Dalton Schultz in my other league, and guess what? He goes off. But then again, I go, well, like you said, it was against the Jets. And you're right. I mean, who knows? So is Kyle Pitts like on the road to, being the unicorn everybody thought he was going to be? Don't know, but I mean, he looked really good.
He's been doing really good. Schultz has been doing all right. I mean, and the thing is that I feel like he's one of those guys that kind of is kind of falling to a lot of the other talent on that Dallas offense.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's kind of like, unfortunately, that's kind of where I've been where it comes to a lot of the Dallas offensive players is because they have so many guys that the boom and bust ratio is just kind of massive. It's like too big of a ratio.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's kind of hard to determine on that, like where these guys are going to end up being.
But I mean, Schultz has done pretty well.
Oh no, he has. He absolutely has. I think that chances are, as the season goes along, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be really good. I think that he has the ability to probably finish the season off as probably a top 8-ish, like tight end. Okay, hold on. Sorry here. Oh, sorry. My boss was messaging me here.
Oh.
Gotta figure it out.
I've got something.
Sorry, I think my boss was trying to get me to. She was asking if I was over at the house. I was like, "No, I'm out here doing a podcast." She's like, "Okay, I got it figured out." She probably needs somebody to cover.
Oh, okay. I've got one thing to say about fantasy this week. If you have injured players, make sure that you put players that aren't injured in there. Because you're not going to get any points for those injured players.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is kind of sad that we have to say those types of things, but like, hell, I'm already kind of seeing it with a couple of dudes in our league.
Yeah.
And
bye weeks. Just remember to always check your bye weeks because they can sneak up on you.
Right. Well, you see, looking at this week right now, and I know I'm trying to give these guys him every opportunity to go ahead and get up there, but I see dude that I'm playing this week, he has Christian McCaffrey in his lineup still. I feel like he hasn't set up his lineup, and a part of me wants to message him and be like, bro, set up your lineup or else I'm gonna stomp on you.
Well, McCaffrey might be back this week. Who knows?
Well, I'm just seeing that, but he also has Pitts, and Pitts has got a bye. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because maybe
exactly.
But I'm also looking. Another thing that I've been seeing, and from my win last week with Dave, and this is something that I have seen a lot of guys do. One cat that I work with, I was kind of talking to him about this, and the thing that I give to that guy though is this is his first year ever doing fantasy, so he is a fantasy virgin. He doesn't, he's still kind of learning the ropes on that. So it's kind of like I've never been a fan of picking up two players that play the same position on the same team. So like Dave, he's got Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. He's got both of them starting as running back 1 and running back 2.
I think it was more or less because Mostert was hurt, and it was that there just wasn't a lot of really good running backs. I think.
Trust me, I understand the concept of there not being a lot of good running backs outside of freaking. For me, honestly, outside of Chubb and fucking Harris, I have had almost zero luck when it comes to my running back core. Like, I literally this week, because freaking Edwards-Helaire went down. Wedge, you are being such a baby right now. Come here, Butters. I ended up scooping up, what's his freaking name? Yeah, Williams. I ended up scooping up Williams just because I know he's going to get the freaking touches.
Right, exactly.
Like, because with Helaire down, he's going to be out for... Well, they said it was an MCL sprain. I saw that.
2 to 3 weeks I saw, but...
Yeah, they said 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, it's probably going to be longer.
Probably
Glad
4 or 5.
You're making it very difficult to do the podcast this week. But yeah, I picked him up simply because it's like, okay, he's going to get those touches. He's got a great offense.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, he's probably going to end up having a couple of pretty big games. I just kind of... Well, also because Patterson's on a bye.
Right.
So I figured, screw it, I'll go ahead and scoop him up.
It's not a bad idea, really. I mean, my main problem in our league this year has been flex. Flex has really been baffling me in both my leagues this year. So I've been putting Hunt in. It's the only thing I can think of to do because Edmonds wasn't working.
It's not a bad thing, dude. Like, honestly, that's not a bad way to go about it because Hunt's been tearing it up. Like,
I mean, it's not like you never know what you're going to get with Hunt, though. That's the only problem.
You know, I'm not going to lie. You want to know what my biggest problem this year has been? Has been just depth on my bench. Like, I'm able to put together a good starting lineup. Okay, I haven't had any questions in my QB1. My QB1, my RB1, and my wide receiver 1, as well as like my defense and my kicker, I really haven't had to worry about that much. You know, me scooping up Knox, pivotal. Picking up the freaking Cardinals defense, instrumental in keeping some of these games alive.
Waiver wire pickups are the bread and butter of any good championship.
Well,
it's the way it always works.
And the thing is, though, is that the waiver, this is one of the things about fantasy this year that's really been throwing me off, is the waiver wire has been such a bust in a lot of ways.
Oh, it has been.
Like, because in all honesty, I don't want to necessarily say it. For me, it's been about 50-50. Because Cordero Patterson has been great.
Wow.
Who
would have thought that? I mean, that's how this season's been going. Cordell Patterson, like, best was maybe a top 25 running back before.
Well, receiver, because he's a wide receiver.
Well,
But, they're having him as a running back right now.
Right.
Like, and it's just...
Mike Davis isn't... Although Mike Davis did have a touchdown, I think.
He's had a couple of decent games, but, like, that's the key part of it is decent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it hasn't been anything...
over the top.
No, like, he hasn't been playing at the level that people are probably expecting him to.
I have one other thing about fantasy this week, and then we can go on to whatever else we want to talk about, because there's a lot to talk about. God. Don't do what I did this past week in one of my leagues. Get very cocky and think that, I can improve my team even more, because in the end I just shot myself in the foot. I thought that if I added a quarterback, I could get more points, and I had Tannehill, and he ended up with I think 13. And then I had Kyle Pitts, and I took him out and put Schultz in, thinking, oh, I mean, I can get more points this way. I got really cocky, and it kind of brought me down to the fantasy football earth where, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Because I was undefeated in my other league, and I was like, well, I want to up it. And it's like there was no reason to up it. I was doing fine. So, don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all I'm trying to say, I guess.
No, dude, I totally get it, man, because, like, I'll admit it, this year I'm doing a hell of a lot better than I did last year.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, at least at this point.
Like last year, you had a great team, and for some reason it just didn't work. I think it's this year the team is working for what your strengths are.
Well, the one thing that's pissing me off about this year that I was talking about before was, like, just the fact that, like, okay, looking at my starters, like, I have 2 players currently on IR. Well, actually 1, because, well, wait a minute, did I drop him? No, I didn't. I didn't drop Logan Thomas. I dropped Washington's defense.
What happened? I mean,
I don't know.
They were expected to be what, 3rd?
I had them,
3?
yeah, I figured they were going to be the number 1 overall freaking scoring defense this year because of how disgusting that front 7 is.
I know, and they haven't really shown up.
No, they haven't shown up at all. Not in any game.
And
it sucks because I think that Fitzpatrick going down had a pretty big part to play in that. Nothing against Taylor Heineke, man. The guy's got an underrated player of the week here.
Wow.
The guy he's been playing his ass off.
Oh, and you can tell he's playing above his talent level.
Yeah, the kid's a fucking fighter. I think it's just that this Washington, their secondary isn't that good. I think teams realize that. They realize that the strength of that defense is their front 7. And as long as they can hold that, you can exploit that secondary in a way that makes it to where that front 7 can't get after you. You're going to beat them. Yeah. And that's what's been happening, okay? It's what Washington did. Like, not Washington, but, like, see what Buffalo did to them.
Oh, my God.
That is... Buffalo, like, literally, McDermott walked in there, and he basically told that Washington defense, y'all think you're good. I'm going to prove to you that you're not. And... honestly, it makes me feel foolish looking at these first couple of weeks. But, I mean, honestly, that's the game we play as fantasy guys, man. I mean, some of the stuff that you think... There's some things that I've been on this year that are 110% correct. And then there's been a lot of stuff where I've been way off. Oh, yeah. So, I mean... But, like, looking at it, it's like, man, Jarvis Landry being out, Logan Thomas being out.
Jeez.
Half the guys that I picked up before, like, I literally picked up Devontae Booker because freaking Saquon Barkley's out. He's sitting on my bench.
How long is Barkley? Is it going to be a couple of weeks, do you think? Or?
Yeah, he said a few weeks, yeah.
That ankle looked
terrible.
You sent me
dude.
A pic of it, and I was just like, whoa.
Well, like, okay, I heard that Saquon went down with an ankle. The first thing that I saw on it, I think it was Adam Schefter who put it out there saying something, it's some sort of ankle sprain or something like that. And I'm like, okay, couple of weeks tops, nothing too crazy. Then I saw the picture.
Oh, my God.
Seeing that thing fucking pop out cockeyed, and I'm like, that's not an ankle sprain, dude. Motherfucker literally popped that bitch out of the joint.
So it was more dislocated.
Yeah, it was a dislocated ankle. Ooh. And I'm like, you know what, Chancellor, they popped it back in, probably isn't any actual real damage, but, like, at the same time, I feel really bad for Saquon. I really do in this Giants offense. I think it's such a shame.
Because he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good player, but he just...
Top 5 running back in this league.
And the thing is I wouldn't take him in my fantasy football league this year.
Same, because the Giants aren't good. They're just not a good team.
And he just gets too injury He's too injury prone.
I'm trying to say hi to everybody, Wedge.
And it's really not his. It's really not his fault.
Wedge, you ain't Gold Packers.
Yeah.
We're going to kick the Bears' ass this week. Right. Yeah, we are, buddy. Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't take him. I mean, and hell, you and I both had opportunities to scoop him up.
Oh yeah.
And wouldn't do it. Because I
No.
remember when I was sitting there at the 6, I saw Barkley sitting there, I saw Ezekiel Elliott sitting there, and then I saw Chubb sitting there, and I was like, I know exactly where I'm going on that one, man, because it's like,
Got it, Chubby.
I got a Chubb for Chubb, man, and it worked.
That
Like
guy's a beast.
yeah. But let's get back on
Okay,
the
let's
topics
get-
here because
we're-
we are wrapping
We're
up the
way
first
off.
hour. I want to talk about Dan Campbell here and that emotional response that he had after the loss this week. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I've always had a low-key respect for the Lions and what the Lions fans have had to deal with.
Oh God.
Okay, yes, they are a rival, but I've always felt very bad for them. Like, I've always felt bad for Lions players. I've always felt very bad for Lions fans. This goes back for a long time, okay? They completely wasted Barry's career. They completely wasted Megatron's career.
Okay.
They damn near wasted all of fucking Stafford's career. Now he's thankfully got a resurgence there in LA. And seeing Dan Campbell get that emotional after that win. Like
Wait,
me,
didn't they lose?
the win, the loss, yes, sorry. After seeing them lose. To me, I feel that Lions team has found their head coach.
Oh yeah.
Even in loss, because to me, I'm looking at it like if I was a player and I saw my head coach going out there and being like, they're fighters. Because that team is fighting.
Oh, yeah,
They're
completely.
not getting blown out by teams.
Oh, no.
They're
No.
losing in a very heartbreaking fashion. They're
Every week.
and they are keeping themselves in games.
Yep.
They are. They are the only game that I feel that the Lions truthfully got their asses kicked, and it wasn't even the whole game. It was literally a half. Was when they played the Packers. That's
Right.
it.
Yep.
Okay. The first half, they were going shot for shot with the fucking Packers and kept that thing going. The second half, the Packers were
Yeah.
able to get their momentum and were able to kind of get steamroll on them a bit. But like seeing that Vikings game and seeing because I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was watching that shit, I was low key rooting for the Lions the entire time. I really
I was too.
Because I was like, you know what? Nothing against what the Vikings were doing. Obviously, I hate the Vikings with a passion, but I respect the fact that they're actually trying. They're definitely a low key fucking. I think they're a low key contender if they can just kind of figure some shit out. But seeing Dan Campbell standing there crying, as somebody who played football, if I was in that locker room, I would literally walk up to the management and be like, I don't give a shit if we finish 0-16, 0-17. Do not fire this man.
Oh no. I mean,
Do not.
because he has your back.
Right.
You know he
He's
has your
going
back.
out. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I have not seen any other Lions coach in recent memory get that emotional. They
Oh, no.
always tried to say the same things, Oh, we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're just going to have to keep working harder, try to fight for a win. No, this guy straight up was like,
He put everything out on the everything.
he put it all out there, and it was by far one of the most candid things I've seen from a coach in a very long time.
It was a class act.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Like,
not gonna lie, I was kind of
Respect.
a little bit weepy-eyed over.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, dude.
watching,
It hits you in the cockles a
Oh,
little bit.
completely. Like
Because it's
anybody that
it's heartbreaking because yes, do I like the Lions? No,
No.
I respect them, and I respect what that team has had to
been
go
through the adversity.
Right, and it's nice to see a coach literally stand there and be like, I want to keep fighting for this team. I want these guys. These guys are fighters. They're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep trying to fight. And to me, it's like that's the kind of guy that I would want to rally behind.
Oh yeah.
Right there. I'm not going to lie. Who do the Lions even play this week?
Who do the Lions play this week? I don't know. I can't remember.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
And they are at home. Here's my prediction on this. After seeing that, I think the Lions are going to beat Cincinnati this week.
I haven't predicted one. I do.
And I know that, like, you know, Cincinnati is kind of a bit of an up and down team. Cincinnati is a team that's been going kind of hard right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like they're playing really good football. I have a weird little feeling that this is going to be the week that Detroit finally gets a win. And it's going to be very hard fought. It's going to be a slugfest because that Cincinnati offense is no joke.
Oh, they're not. They're a good, especially Chase.
Chase is tearing that shit up.
Oh my God.
I think that the Lions are going to get it. I think the Lions are going to get that first one this week. Simply, and you know what? And is it a long shot for them to get the win this week? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I'll say this right now. There is nothing more dangerous in the game of football than a team that has rallied behind something
bigger than themselves.
Bigger than themselves, yes. That's probably the best way to put it. Okay, because they have that coach that they know for a fact will take a fucking bullet to the face for them.
Completely. You're absolutely right.
And that team is going to go out there and being like, we're getting this guy a win this week. This guy has fought so fucking hard for us. This guy broke down on national fucking television because we couldn't get it done. And he didn't go and try to talk bad on us. He kept the fact that we kept fighting right here in his heart, and that's what made him get emotional.
And he didn't make excuses
no,
for the play.
There was no excuses. It was straight up, you know, we lost, we fought hard, we couldn't get it done. It sucks. I think this is going to, like, I have a weird feeling that Detroit's not only going to win, but I think they're going to beat Cincinnati's ass a little bit. They're going out to fight because, like I said, man, there is nothing more dangerous in the game of football than a player or group of players that are fueled by nothing but pure freaking emotion together.
Oh, completely.
And I think that's what's going to get that.
Well, and I think that's a big bonding moment for that team, too, because they're a young team.
Right.
Very young team. And so I think that that's just going to make them solidified even more as a team. You know?
Right. Like, this could be the moment. Like, no, mind you, this is a long shot. Like, it's not saying this is going to be anything great, but, like, this could be that moment that starts to turn that organization around a little bit. Like, is it saying that they're going to turn it around, win every single game, and go win a Super Bowl? Well, no. But they might be able to go ahead and string together some wins and be able to actually, like, get some pride behind each other.
If you look at they have some nice young players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cephas has been playing pretty good lately. I want to see more on that Amon-Ra Bay, the brother of
yeah, he hasn't been doing
St. Brown.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing that much though, from what I saw. Neither is Tyrell Williams. Like, honestly,
that's kind of weird.
Right, like the receiving core really hasn't been getting it done. Hawkinson's been playing well. Wedge is being a distraction. Swift is having a good year.
You know, and I kind of like, I didn't think Swift was going to have that great of a year.
I really wasn't sure about it because, like,
he was injured. He had that groin pull.
Right. Well, to me, I was more worried about, like, how that Detroit offensive line was going to be and just how the team was going to be in general. Like, you don't really know what to expect.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's a good point, though, about, you know, they're young. You know, if you give them a few more playmakers, maybe next year they're an 8-8 team. Who knows?
Well, the one thing that I thought that was a great pickup for them, and I think this is something that's actually been really helping their offense out a lot, was picking up Sewell, that offensive lineman from Oregon.
That guy
is good. Like, he is very good. And, like, To me, it's like, okay, yes, is Jared Goff gonna be an MVP quarterback in Detroit? No. I think right now, Jared Goff is pretty much just going to be the serviceable guy until they possibly find their next Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe he could end up being that guy.
Who
I
knows?
doubt it, but the guy did go to a Super Bowl with the Lions, but that was behind a number 1 defense and a number 2 overall scoring offense because they were stacked.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Lions have got a chip on their shoulder right now. They feel like they got something to prove, and I think they're going to go out this week and get it. But yeah, now we're go ahead and starting into week number 2 here, or hour number 2 here. Jesus, what the fuck am I talking about? Let's go ahead and talk about the MVP conversation here, man. I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple of names here in the MVP talk that we got that I think we all kind of expected.
Right.
Josh Allen
Yeah.
is in that. He's my number. He's at number 3 right now, at least in my book. Okay, buddy. I'll put you down. I did not expect Kyler Murray to be the sheer cut number 1. I know what.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say a lot of people are kind of having a debate between whether or not it's going to be Murray or Brady right now because Brady's playing an amazing year as well. I personally think it's Kyler Murray. To me, I think he's the number 1 at this point.
Personally, I hope it's my Murray because I just kind of had it with the Tom Brady, whatever. I like Tom Brady. I mean,
I know.
for his numbers, but I'm not a big Tom Brady fan. I never have been.
I've never been a Tom Brady fan. I mean, I'm not going to deny that he's having a spectacular season.
He's having a great year at 44?
44, yeah, 44, 45.
That's insane. It's insane.
I'll admit it, part of me wants to go down my typical freaking Brady rant that I've been sitting down on for this bit, but I'm trying to stay on topic on it because, I know, I'll get super distracted on it. I think I know we have the list here. We got Murray, Brady, Allen, Dak Prescott, and then right there at the bottom, probably Justin Herbert.
Well, I think Herbert's good, but I think you're right. I think that he's probably the dark horse right now.
Major dark horse. He's playing very good football.
Oh, yeah.
And he's leading his team to wins. They're beating tough teams.
But,
he's got great stats. It's just those other guys were just that touch better.
Right.
And it's not to say that Herbert won't get one eventually because the way he's been playing, definitely got an opportunity.
Down the line, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The weird thing is there's virtually no running backs in the discussion we have on MVP. I can't really think of any.
I mean, Derrick Henry probably.
Well,
Derrick Henry,
yeah.
I know a few people have Derrick Henry in that mix. I know, it's kind of sad to see that. I don't want to say it's sad to see that the MVP is pretty much it's kind of the same thing as the Heisman, where it's almost exclusively quarterbacks now, and it kind of has been exclusively quarterbacks. I know, I know Devontae Smith won the Heisman last year, and we've had a couple of guys who have not been not been quarterbacks, because I know Derrick Henry won a Heisman and shit like that, but it's normally when you look at the previous Heisman winners, it's almost always exclusively a quarterback.
Oh, completely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the funny thing is even wide receivers, there really haven't been any major, the names, when you think of.
Yeah, that's something I'm kind of interested in is when was the last time a wide receiver was even in the discussion for an MVP?
Oh, maybe Megatron.
The one that I'm thinking of, because I remember he was in that conversation for a while, and this is going back a bit, was when Randy Moss was with the Patriots during that 16-0 year because he was number one receiver in the league that year. He had outstanding numbers. Like, that was probably the closest I could see.
And we could have had him.
I know.
Favre was saying, get Randy Moss, get Randy Moss.
And they wouldn't do it because he was with the Vikings, and it's like, oh my God, get off the cross, we need a Wood.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think, honestly, I think at this point, right now, the clear cut is definitely Murray, just because of how well he's been playing. And even though he didn't have that huge of a week this last week, they still got the win.
Yeah.
Against a tough team.
And the 49ers, I mean, talk about injury bugs that just keep hitting. George Kittle out again.
You know, Kittle, in my opinion, and I hate to say it because he's a great player, Kittle has kind of low-key become the most overrated tight end in the league, in my opinion.
I think you're right.
Simply because of the fact that he can't stay healthy.
Right. And,
like what? He comes in, has a couple of great games, then something happens. He's out for 5 to 6 weeks. Comes back, has another great game, out for another 2. Like, when was the last time Kittle finished a complete season?
3 years ago, maybe.
Exactly. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I know everybody gets injured and like it happens, but like, to me, it's like when you have a guy who's supposed to be, oh my gosh, Wedge, you're being such a baby. When you have a guy who is supposed to be pretty much your number one fucking offensive playmaker, and he can't stay on the field for more than half the year.
Yeah. Exactly.
How is that not overrated?
Well, right. That is overrated.
Like, because to me, it's like, I don't give a shit how fucking awesome you're playing in those 8 games. It's the fact that you're not getting anything done in those other 8 games because you can't stay healthy enough.
Well, look at Travis Kelce. He got a stinger, but he's probably going to be in there,
See, one of the things I've noticed about Kelce is that he doesn't really miss time.
No,
and if he does, it's not like anything
major at all.
Yeah, it's not anything really major.
I think he's missed maybe 1 game in the last 2 years.
I think last year he missed 1 or 2 games because then he had that shoulder injury.
Yeah,
was it a shoulder?
Yeah,
or was that Kittle got it? He had something where he was out for a couple of games, but it wasn't anything crazily significant. And if I remember correctly, it was because they kept him out that second game because they wanted to give him the additional rest going into the playoffs. Right. It was towards the end of the year.
Well, they did that with everybody pretty much.
Right, and that made sense. It was kind of like, at that point, it was like, whatever, dude, we're already going. Like,
it sucked for me because I had Travis Kelce last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was thinking it was in the playoffs, and it's like, well, now what do I do?
Right.
I mean, I've been riding the gravy train.
Right. So the one piece of fantasy advice that I'll go ahead and we'll throw out there, because we're not really doing the fantasy stuff much this week, I guess. Don't start Kittle, okay?
Yeah,
just don't. I'm sorry. Bench him, drop him, let him be somebody else's problem. You know what? Drop Kittle and pick up Knox if he's not fucking if he's still available.
Yeah.
If Dawson Knox is still sitting in anybody's leagues, because I remember, I saw yesterday, I think it was, he's only on average in about 30% of people's leagues.
Which is so ridiculous. I mean, the guy is like amazing. I mean,
right. Drop Kittle. If you got Kittle or you got Logan Thomas, drop him.
Yeah.
Pick up Dawson Knox.
Well, Logan Thomas should only be out for another couple of weeks, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. I think they said that he's potentially going to be coming back by next week. Hey, what that? I saw that little boy. But like, to me, I'm also looking at it. I'm looking at it from this Washington team in general, dude. I feel bad saying this, but I feel like Washington is a team that people need to avoid. unless you are in a deep, deep league where you don't have a lot of options. Okay, because I'll admit it, it's one of the things I've been seeing this year. I've been seeing a lot of people throwing out these crazy concepts for leagues. I'm seeing motherfucking leagues with 127 different owners. I saw one. 127 owner league.
That's stupid. And stop it. Why?
Y'all are doing too much. Okay, and I don't know, maybe it's some sort of promotional thing. Maybe it's these guys are trying to be guys like us trying to build up.
Competitions where people drink a lot of water, to see who could drink the most water and die. Don't do it. It's just
It's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Well, like when I see the dudes that are there on TikTok, now mind you, there's a few of those guys that I follow that I'm like, these guys are pretty fucking dope. The one guy who's the Packer fan there, I really dig his content, but like, these guys are in a 32-man Superflex league.
Jeez.
Well, it's what it is. They have one fan, like fantasy fan guy, content creator from each NFL team.
Okay.
And they do the Superflex. So the thing is about Superflex is that it's only like 6 players. There's no defense or kicker. You can kind of put guys wherever you need to. So you could technically go ahead and scoop up Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and have one of those be like your keeper, one the other guy be like in that Superflex position. Because I'm just kind of starting to learn how that stuff goes. Yeah.
That actually sounds kind of cool.
Right, like it sounds like a really cool concept.
Because, where can you have 2 quarterbacks play on the same team?
Right, like that's
pretty cool.
That's the kind of part. That's the part of it that was kind of intriguing. Because when I first heard it, I was like, "Wow, dude, you guys seem to be doing too much."
Yeah.
And I thought they were doing some sort of standard or a PPR type thing. And I remember there was a couple of other guys who kind of hit me up in the comics and they're like, "Hey, man, do you know what Superflex is?" And I admittedly was like, "Never heard of it." Like, sorry, I've kind of always stuck to that old school stuff. And they're like, "Okay, well, this is what it is, and this is why they're doing it, and they're doing all that." And I'm like, "Okay, now that makes sense." Like, that actually sounds like something that in a 32-man league could be pretty competitive.
Oh, completely. Yeah, you wouldn't. Wow, that's really insane.
Right, like it's kind of an interesting little concept for something, like something I would maybe consider trying at some point.
Right. That would be, but 160 what?
127 is what it was, if I remember correctly. And yeah, dude, to me that's just.
This sounds really, really ridiculous.
Well, like showing the guy who I saw who was putting this thing up there, he showed his team. And like, what would be the worst thing for me is it's like that person that's picking there at the end, at that 127 spot. Like, let's say you're doing a snake. Okay, so you got 2 picks at that point. Number 127, who do you got for quarterbacks? Bunch of backups.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you got for fucking wide receivers? Bunch of 4th-string dudes. Running backs, guys that might receive 20 touches on the year. How do you win doing that? What's the point? What is the point of that? Like a 32-man Superflex league, that's something you could do something with.
That's doable, yeah.
Like to me, I've never been a fan of doing more. Like to me, the absolute max I would ever even consider doing our league at would be, and this is even a big bit of a stretch, is 16. Because I feel like after you get past 12 players in the league, you start making it, you basically take away the competitive edge because it's pretty much whoever has those first few picks are going to probably be the guys who have those best players.
Right.
Unless you somehow are able to, unless somehow you are able to like really pick it up and be able to scoop a couple of guys that might be able to do better than, say, your Derrick Henrys, your McCaffreys, your Austin Ecklers.
Which I can't really think of too many that are.
There really isn't.
No.
Like, your
no
level of luck
wire.
would have. Yeah, your waiver wire would be a fucking joke.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, and I think that's maybe part of it because they want that additional competitiveness. But pretty much all you're doing, like to me, I feel like after you get past 10 or 12 guys in the league, the competitive edge leaves. Like, to me, I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like I want to see a balance of everybody having an equal shot.
Yeah,
That to me is...
that's why I like 10-team leagues.
Same.
I'm in a 12-team league, and I like it, but it's hard for me to get used to because I've always been in 10-team leagues.
Yeah, I've normally been near 10 or lower. Usually, well, because I know we've ran it at 8 for a couple of years, and then we've been doing it for 10 for a couple of years.
8 was just a little too less of what we...
Well, yeah, and the only reason
Yeah.
why we ran at 8 is simply because of the fact that we just didn't have the people.
Right.
But, okay.
Topic
of the week here, guys. This is a big one. Obviously, everybody and their mom has been talking about this the last few days. We're about to give our hot take on it.
All I can say is it's kind of apropos that it would be in October with the whole Chucky. And on that note,
Yeah, John Gruden,
uh,
the fucking jabroni, man.
Why?
Like, I did not.
jabroni's a good word for
Well,
it.
like, I don't know how else to put it at this
Why,
point.
well, why would you need to even do that? Is beyond me.
Well, like, I know, like, people, I've seen a lot of people who have been getting on this whole thing. Why are you holding people accountable for something that they said 10 years ago in a private email? And at this point, I just want to grab those people, just grab them by the fucking scruff of their shirts. No, it doesn't matter whether it was 10 years ago or whatever. I don't give a shit. The fact of the matter is that this guy literally went and, you know, and he even said it before. He's like, well, it was my personal emails, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Like, calm it the fuck down with your titties there for a few minutes and understand that you are the face, one of the big faces of a multi-billion-dollar organization that is constantly in the media's attention.
True.
And you're going ahead and you're calling Roger Goodell homosexual slurs. You're calling the president of the NFL Players Association all sorts of racial slurs simply because he's a black man. Like, and you're doing this while you have Carl Nassib, who's an openly homosexual man. Like, to me, as a member of the LGBT community, I find it fucking sickening that was allowed to happen. Like, I understand a lot of these guys, like, especially these guys who've been in the league for a while, you know, they have some of that old school fucking mentality of, like, you know, you don't want that sort of thing, it's a distraction. It's like, but, like, ultimately, all that John Gruden is at this point, and this is why he resigned, I
Is
feel,
a distraction.
he said he didn't want to be a distraction, and it's like, well, too fucking late.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now your entire season, the rest of this team's season is now going to be plagued with what you did. Because you wanted to be a pompous prick.
Right.
Like, that's what it boils down to.
exactly.
The part of it that fucked me up the most is when I saw that press conference, and he had a smug little look on his face saying,
I'm not a racist.
I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I'm just going to keep moving forward. That's what I do. Just keep moving forward. I think about the person that I am and the things that I accomplish, and I'm like, yeah, the person that you are, the person who goes ahead and wanted to call Roger Goodell insert the fucking term, because I'm not going to say it live on our fucking podcast. That's the type of person you are, John Gruden. We finally see the type of person that you are. And that press conference proved it to me. Because instead of being he said that he kept apologizing. Like, I'm sorry that I said it. I'm sorry for the people. I'm sorry for who I offended. That was an actual
quite
term.
a few people, I would imagine.
Yeah. How about instead of saying, I'm sorry for who I offended, you just shut the fuck up and say, I'm sorry I said those things. I need to be better.
Yep.
Stop saying that you're going to move. Because honestly, that press conference and the things that he said sealed his fate forever.
Oh, completely.
Because if he would have came out and been completely empathetic and been like, okay, listen, I know I fucked up. I said these things. I can't change it. I apologize. I want to do better. I understand if I need to leave the team, but I want to try to do better. If he would have handled it like that, he could have potentially come back to the league in some capacity.
And rehabilitated his career.
Right. He could have rehabilitated it. He could have bounced back. It wouldn't have been pretty, but he could have bounced back, and at least the fan base, some of the fan base of the NFL, could have come back and respected the fact that, hey, he acknowledges that he made the mistake and he's trying to do better. But I didn't see that.
Oh no, I didn't either. In fact, it was almost like he was drawing a line in the sand, saying, "This is what I am. If you don't like it, well, then that's your problem."
Pretty much, he just took career fucking suicide.
Oh,
That was
completely.
literally him. That press conference was literally the equivalent of sticking a double barrel in his fucking mouth and saying, "Fuck you, I am who I am." Boom, like just letting it rip.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
because now Tampa Bay is talking about taking him off of their fucking Ring of Honor. He's probably never going to. Well, wait a minute. Is Gruden in the Hall of Fame
I don't think
as a
so.
coach?
I don't think so.
Well, if he's not, he's definitely going to be missing
No,
his opportunity
no.
now.
I mean, the thing is you can't say the things that he said and not have any sort of remorse for what you did and expect to be still in there. No.
No.
I mean, it's no.
No,
I just
it's
don't
not okay,
see-
dude. Like, it's not okay
No, it
to...
really isn't okay to call people names and I mean,
Well, the thing is like, what do you have to gain? And apparently this was like, and it wasn't just like a couple of emails.
Oh, no,
like
there's-
this was a bunch.
yeah, that's what I
Like,
heard,
and
too.
he apparently was going off on everybody. He was sending this stuff to other high-end execs. He was sending stuff to Mark Davis. He was sending stuff to other coaches that he had, other players. Like,
Wasn't some of it was when he was with the Redskins, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Or
well, it was over the span of like a period of time over his entire
Yeah.
coaching career.
jeez,
So, like, yeah, it wasn't just like a one isolated thing. Like, because this wasn't just like one email. This was a group of emails
Yeah.
over the span of a period of years. Now, mind you, these were emails that were sent like 10 years ago. So it was during his first stint of coaching. And you know, that's the thing, is it's like he could have salvaged his career
yeah,
if he would have just been like in that press conference, like that smug little look when he was kind of like, you know, I'm not a racist man.
yeah,
Yes, you fucking
yeah,
are.
yeah. I mean,
Like, the fact that you go ahead and you pull that shit just goes to show to prove
when
it.
basically you say you're not a racist, chances are you're probably a racist.
Yeah, if you have to go ahead and openly say, because of something fucked up that you did, that, hey, I'm not a racist. Yeah, guess what? You actually
Yeah,
just have to go ahead and prove that you are. Because, like, you're now having to go ahead and play defense mode on the fact of whether or not you actually are racist. And, like, it's kind of fucked, man. It's
yeah, it really is.
Turn that off. Because it's getting a little cool in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just...
It, you know, and the thing is the Raider Nation cannot catch a break. They can't. It's like something always ends up sabotaging whatever they had. And I mean, they were doing pretty well this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was kind of the thing I was about to say. Is it's like they're doing good. They're having a good year. They're winning games against good teams. You know, keeping themselves in it. Like, obviously they weren't going to win a Super Bowl this year, but like they definitely were turning a lot of people around. And you know,
well, they've got a lot of nice young players. They've got, I don't know, Derek Carr's had a good year.
Derek Carr's been doing
Last
really
two-
good.
last
Last couple
two
of
games,
games, he's
not
kind
so
of
much,
faltered
but-
off, but I mean, Jacobs is doing okay. I mean, their receiving core has been doing all right.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, Waller's been having a good year. Ruggs has been doing okay in a couple of games. That defense, I think, has been the one thing that's been really keeping them in it, in my opinion. Because they added a couple of key guys there on defense. And, like...
That Crosby guy
Yeah.
is amazing.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like, I love to... I know a lot of people love talking smack about this guy with this whole thing now. This was the other thing I wanted to talk about it. With Carl Nassib. Like, Carl Nassib's having a good year, in my opinion. But I think one of the things... And this is something about this. It's, like, on topic, but a little bit off topic with it. Is that whenever I see people... Like, I see the people in the media going ahead and saying that Carl Nassib is the very first openly gay NFL player, when he is not. He was not. And this is no disrespect to Carl Nassib. Love the fucking guy, okay? He's a great player for the Raiders, former Nittany Lion. I'm always going to respect and have fun and support my boys from Happy Valley. But he wasn't the first. That was Michael Sam. I don't understand entirely why they, like, almost no media person is going and saying that Michael Sam was the very first. Because I think maybe that's because, you know, the media did not handle the Michael Sam situation well at all. The NFL, the media, nobody did. And I feel like maybe that's why they're trying to go ahead and push the Carl Nassib thing, is to go ahead and say, oh, you see, we actually are tolerant, even though we weren't tolerant of when Michael Sam did it. They're trying to fucking hide it off like it never happened. And it's like, no, it did happen.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, no offense here, guys, but to all you people who don't want to agree with me, tough shit. Michael Sam fell so Carl Nassib could fly. That was it, straight up. Like, that's just how she fucking goes. So, I think that's something that needs to, like, kind of change. Plus, also, I see all these people who are just, because of this whole thing, I've even seen a few people, and mind you, these are these toxic fucking assholes out there, who are pretty much going and saying that, you know, Carl Nassib being gay is now ruining John Gruden's career because, and there's been some people who are saying that I saw some guy try to say that Carl Nassib was the whistleblower on Gruden.
I heard it was Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, no, it is. It was the whole Carl Nassib thing was total bullshit. It's literally just people trying to spread their own personal little propaganda about it.
So stupid.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's completely fucking stupid. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Carl Nassib didn't actually give a shit. Like, he probably heard about this whole thing and is probably like, okay, well, I'm glad that he's no longer the coach, but by the way, I saw over the last few years, Nassib and Gruden had a pretty good rapport. So, like,
yeah,
it is what it is there, but,
yeah.
like, I feel like, I hate when I see people, have you ever noticed, and I know this is kind of on but off topic, have you ever noticed that when somebody doesn't have anything to make their point on the argument, they just immediately go to the insult?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you see people when they try to talk smack about the Packers,
Jeez.
when they know they can't say anything that, like, that actually holds any ground, they just throw the fudge packer term. Oh, if you guys are a bunch of fudge packers. Yeah, that just proves to me, oh, okay, cool. You just lost the argument.
Moron.
You lost the argument because you couldn't throw anything constructive in there, so you immediately go to the gay joke.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to prove from that? Like, you're just proving how much of a fucking idiot you are. And I see a lot of this shit when it comes to Carl Nassib. You can't talk bad about Carl Nassib because of his play, because his play has been on point this year. He's been a solid player. So the only real thing that you guys can go on about is the fact that he's gay.
And who cares? I mean,
really,
who
though?
The hell
Yeah,
cares?
I don't give a flying fuck.
I don't either.
Like,
you know, people should just live their lives the way they want to live them.
you see, here's the thing, and this is going on a complete thing, but if there was a player who came out, let's say we had a big old fucking 350-pound fucking, offensive lineman coming out, and he comes out and says, hey, my name, we'll use my name for example. Let's say I'm going in there and I say, okay, I'm stepping into the league. My name is Steve. I'm changing it to Stephanie. I am transitioning. I am transgendered. I'm transgender now. I'm going to go through my transition, but I'm still going to play in the NFL, hold all that weight, and continue to play. To me, it's like, as long as that person can still do their job, what does it matter?
Who gives a fuck?
I don't give a flying fuck what you do with your personal life or what that sort of thing is. That has nothing to do with your
football.
Job.
Yeah.
Well, it's like any job. Whatever, I see people who get on people's asses about that sort of thing, being like, well, I don't want any of this type of person. What the fuck does that have to do with how that person does their job? Okay, I don't care if a person's gay or transgender or whatever, stepping into those positions, as long as they're able to do their job, that's what matters.
True.
That's it, straight up. Who gives a shit? Get off of, I know this is going to be in kind of poor taste here, but if you guys could just kindly get off of Carl Nassib's dick for about 20 fucking seconds, and kind of realize that, this way of looking at things fucking however long ago, John Gruden, okay? This isn't fucking 1950 anymore.
Well, right, exactly.
Where you could quietly go ahead and take the person that you don't like
and just call
because of how they look or who
want.
they're fucking and drag them out and fucking string them up.
Right.
Okay, we don't do that shit anymore. You want to know why? Because people got sick and tired of it.
Right, exactly. And, I mean, the thing is the NFL doesn't want this. I mean, you know darn well that the NFL would rather just have this whole thing go away, but...
I'm sure they would... They don't want to catch that smoke.
No.
They don't.
But by the same token, I think that it's good that we're having a dialogue about it now, as opposed to... I mean, not that the way that it happened...
No, it's absolute bullshit the way that it happened.
It is bullshit, but... At least we're having this discussion. I think that's the main thing is that people are starting to talk about it.
Well, I think. Hold on here. Sorry, Shonda just messaged me.
Oh, okay.
The one thing that I like about, like you were saying, bringing up the dialogue of it, is that. The majority, I think the thing about it is that, you have that little minority of people who are going to try to go ahead and say, hey, leave that alone. Try to go ahead and say, well, this stuff doesn't belong in this, blah, 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 just throw the football. And it's like, no, dude, we should be able to have this dialogue because you got to understand that this, regardless of how you guys feel about it, football is for everyone.
Right.
Sports are for everyone.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you live. The thing is about sports is it's supposed to bring people together. It's supposed to be a unifying thing that we all can stand behind. You stand behind your team. You stand behind this thing and be able to root for, see something greater happening.
Right. And then obviously yourself. I mean,
right, and
team sport.
Right, it shouldn't matter where you're from in this world. That's why I love the fact that of the NFL international thing going on, us going to London, playing in Mexico City, the potential of international teams in the NFL really excites me. Even if we don't see it for another 10 years or 20 years, that the concept of that is awesome to me. Because it shows that
the NFL is thriving.
Well, yeah, it just shows that that sports in general are starting to realize that with the times and realize that it's not just one group of people that are into this sort of thing. Okay, stop, because you start shooting on that court, I'm going to beat your butt. Because, like, I feel like they're starting to realize that, like, the real majority are people who actually are willing to embrace all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of people, there's a certain amount of people who are pissed off because now they're, they feel like they're, their opinions are being limited. And it's like, no, what it is that people are tired of your fucking stupid, racist, homophobic bullshit.
Right.
And now even the league is kind of like, no, we're not going to put out that bullshit anymore. Okay, we don't care if we lose you. Because that's one of the things I've seen is I've seen some people where they see that that one guy who hopped onto our podcast a few weeks back trying to say the NFL is too woke and they're losing viewership. The amount of people that they are losing is minuscule in comparison to the groups of people that they have gained over the last few years, because the NFL is now realizing that
there's a market.
There is a market there. Just because somebody is part of a group that you don't agree with doesn't mean that they can't be a football fan.
Or a football player.
Or a football player. Or a referee. Or a coach. Okay, that's one of the things I think that people need to get off. They need to get off the cross. We need to what about? Okay, we can have gay players. We can have international teams. We can have female refs and female coaches. We can have these things and have the league be just as amazing as it's always been.
Right. And maybe even better.
Yeah, if not better, because now, to me, the beauty of teamwork is supposed to be bringing diversity together.
True.
That was one of the things that I loved about football. Mm-hmm. It was one of the things that drove me into it, is that while, yes, I grew up in a very small white town where, we didn't have a single person of color on our team. I remember my first year stepping in, we had 52 people on our team. Every single one of us was white. But I saw diversity among the players that I played with. Because
everybody's different.
All of us were different. Like me, I was a loser in my school. I didn't have very many friends. I had a couple of friends that were on that team who were trying to pull me in. But the thing that I loved about it, especially when it came to that year we won our conference championship, this was something that people in Union City, PA, I hope they still talk about, was that 2000 French Creek Valley Championship. We had a group. I don't know. You remember? There was a term that I saw. It was in. I don't want to necessarily throw the Hitler thing, but you remember that Hitler Circle of Evil?
Oh yeah.
Show that I told you about. The first episode of that was called Misfits and Heroes, and that's how that was a perfect depiction of how that 2000s team was to me, because I was one of the misfits. We didn't get much playing time. Me and my buddies, we didn't get a lot. We were mostly a JV team. But it was kind of like a group of misfits and heroes. We had the seniors, 19 seniors, biggest senior class playing for a team I've ever heard of. Yeah.
That's insane.
And out of those 19, 12 or 13 of them were respective starters at different positions on the field.
Jeez.
Across offense and defense. Yeah. That team was stacked. But we had popular kids, fucking a couple of goth kids, fucking just rednecks, nerds. We were a collection of very
kind of a ragtag.
It was a ragtag, diverse group, and that's where I felt the diversity aspect of football really kind of showed itself to me, because it showed that a group of people that under any other circumstances we did not get along. Okay, I don't know how many people on that fucking football team that either I got into an argument with, and there was a few of them that I've gotten into physical altercations with, but the moment that we put those pads on, we put on that green and white, and we went out onto that fucking field, we were all brothers. Did not matter what the fuck happened before, did not matter what's going to happen later. At that moment, we were family. And I loved that, and that's what football was to me, is it's bringing that diverse group of people together. Does not matter where you're from, and that's the beauty of it. And I feel that's it's really coming to itself now to where like it's not just one group of people
Oh no!
or two groups of people. It's everybody coming
yeah.
together and being like, "This is for us."
Well, look at obviously because of COVID, there hasn't been a game in England since 2019, I think.
Yeah, this last week was literally the first time.
And they were saying how the people in England were really like, we want to do this. We're really excited about this.
Right.
Bringing it back, And, I mean, I think that says a lot, because it's a sport that, there aren't any English, American football teams. Football is soccer, or soccer is football, depending on where you're
right.
What part of argument you're
well, I mean, it's pretty much America that we call it soccer. Everywhere else calls it football. Which, I mean, you know what?
Which is funny because football, how much of the time in a game are you actually using your foot? You're kicking off, you're punting, or you're kicking field goals.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a poor marketing strategy, I guess, on that one there at the beginning. But no, like I think the one thing that I love about that I want to see, like with the international initiative stuff that they're doing. Hell, even looking back at NFL Europe proved that like there could be a market for the NFL to go international.
It just wasn't time yet for that to happen, but I think...
Well, I think the thing that kind of ruined it in a lot of ways was the fact that the NFL Europe teams, it was basically like the minors. Is kind of how they played it. It was kind of like a minor league NFL. And it was kind of crazy because like you would show these guys going and playing at some of these places in Europe and they're filled. I remember seeing a game, if I remember correctly, it was a team in Spain. They were playing where they were in Madrid. They were playing where Real Madrid plays.
Okay.
It's at the time, it was one of the biggest stadiums in Europe, and it was packed. Watching a bunch of guys who could not make an NFL roster go out and play. Playing for thousands of people. And it's like, that to me showed like there's a market here for this. And like I would love to see that actually expand out. Now, I would mean it would have to expand the league by a bunch of different teams probably. But like, is that really a problem? Like,
why
not? Like we were talking about before, have like an international division. Hell, that would be really dope as if they were to have a different conference. Like we have the teams here in the States. Go ahead and play for their whole thing. You have a bunch of teams that are playing international, and you have the best American team and the best international team play at the end of the year, and have that be the quote-unquote Super Bowl.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
It'd be like, it would definitely give the 1970 merger a whole different spin on things.
Yeah, and I feel like it would probably shut a lot of those guys up. Or maybe it wouldn't, and it would add a whole other thing where... Like, because I feel people would be like, oh, that's stupid to do all that and blah, blah, blah. It would be so extra. I know there's some people who are probably like, football deserves to stay in America. And it's like, no, dude, this is the part of it where y'all motherfuckers need to sit the fuck down. Okay? Football is for everyone.
Not just America.
It's not just for you.
No,
okay?
No. Why keep it that way? I mean, why?
Well, I think when it comes to these guys who are like these guys who have these mentalities like John Gruden has, to me, I look at it straight up like this. It's not for you anymore.
No, it's for all
We don't
of us.
want you here.
Yeah. It's for everybody.
Like, I don't care. Like, and these guys can go ahead, these people who think that way, they can say that they're the majority all they want. But they're not. They're not.
No.
Sorry. There are more of us that feel differently than there are you.
Yeah.
We outnumber you. So sit the fuck down and shut up.
Because
you don't like it, stop watching.
Chances are in 20 years, you're gonna be dead anyways, and then the majority of that will go away.
Yeah, like these things are going to be happening no matter what.
Yep. So
whether you
there's
like it or
nothing
not.
You can rail against it, but in the end, you're not going to do
Well,
anything.
the thing is why do people want to
Rail
fight diversity?
Yep, I don't understand
Like,
that either.
why do we want to fight allowing everybody to have the opportunity to be in this?
Exactly, it's so stupid.
Like, it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Like,
No.
why would somebody like John Gruden, like, okay, I can understand. I don't like Roger Goodell one fucking bit. I
I
never
don't
really
either.
have.
No.
But, like, just going ahead and giving, like, a baseless accusation about something and a baseless insult just for the sake of it so you can make yourself feel better,
If it was,
that doesn't prove anything to anyone.
doesn't, no.
It doesn't prove that you're... It doesn't make you a big badass. It makes you look like a schmuck.
right.
Makes you look like a fucking asshole. Like Gruden looked in that goddamn press conference. He looked like a goddamn asshole. He looked like a smug, spoiled little bitch.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, and if I would have been there, if I would have been a reporter at that, I would have been like, hey, asshole, why don't you wipe that smug fucking look off your face and take this seriously? Because you know me, dude, I'm candid as fuck. I wouldn't give a shit. What are you gonna do? You gonna drag me the fuck out of there?
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Walk up and get in my face? Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, as somebody, like, knowing the words that you've probably said at other people, I'd love the opportunity to punch you in the fucking mouth. Like, I would. Like, go ahead and call me the F word and see what the fuck happens to you, John Gruden. I swear to fucking God. Okay? I'll drop you like fucking... the dude, I can't remember, fucking dude from The Blind Side fucking grabbed that one defensive lineman and threw him over the fucking thing.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I'd do something like that to it because it pisses me the fuck off. Like, the moment you go ahead and you start throwing those types of words around, you've already lost. Your point, your entire point of whatever it is you're trying to make, gone. Poof.
Yep.
See ya.
Exactly. That's what I thought too. When he was trying to like defend his racist whatever agenda.
Right, and I know some people didn't see that. They feel like they didn't see that. That's all I saw.
Oh yeah.
All I saw was him trying to defend his shitty fucking actions.
And you know, I mean, I really felt kind of sick, to be quite honest. I felt sick for, you know, all the players, all the players of color, all the players that have tried to actually do something with their lives that they had nothing, and basically, in just a bunch of stupid emails, you demean the whole group of people. Groups of
right.
people.
How can you expect people on your team to rally behind you, to fight
Right.
for you,
Right.
when you're going ahead and you're calling a former player and the president of the NFL Players Association a monkey?
I mean,
That's the only term that he went and he used that I feel comfortable saying, and I'm saying it within the context of it, and I don't even like the fact that I did that.
Yeah.
But he called them
It's
that.
just
Just to throw some context to the viewers that we have, the non-viewers, but like still, like the people who are related, like that's the only part of it that made me feel, I felt even remotely comfortable saying. And it's only within context. Like, you called this guy that. How is Darren Waller and Henry Ruggs and any other, Josh Jacobs, any other black player that you have going to feel comfortable fighting for you when you called somebody that has the same fucking skin complexion as them that?
there's no
How
way
is
to-
Carl Nassib supposed to go out and fight for you when you're going out and calling people derogatory terms that you're probably saying about him behind his fucking back? I know if I was on that team, I literally, if I like, honestly, I probably would have went off if I would have heard all that shit. I probably would have walked into his office and been like, "You got something you want to say?" Like,
Yeah, that's
like
just-
what are you thinking here, man? Like,
Well, obviously he wasn't. He really didn't care.
No, I don't think
Because-
he cares at all. I think John Gruden thinks this whole thing is just going to get swept under the rug.
Oh yeah, and like a couple of weeks he'll be back.
Whatever. People will forget about this in a year or two, and it's like, no, dude, people do not let this shit go now. They don't. Okay?
It's not like before where like attention spans.
Well, also, it's before the age of information really started picking off, okay? Everybody's got access to the internet now, dude. These keyboard warriors,
Really?
man, they go hard, okay?
Really
The guys
have
that are on the good side of it and the bad side of it, people are not going to let this shit... Yeah, it's probably going to die down a little bit in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But if they think that all of a sudden John Gruden, after a year or two, is going to be able to come back and start coaching again or start commentating again... No, it's never going to fucking happen, dude. Your legacy... and that's the thing about it, like we was having that press conference, because that smug fucking expression, he literally took his entire legacy and he shit on it. He basically tried to say that his legacy is going to live on and be more important than the bullshit actions that he did. That's what I saw there.
I think
And that's
you're
not right.
No.
That's what's going to be the
No.
killer of this.
Well,
And,
he lost his own argument, really. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean,
mean,
the whole,
in a matter of like a few seconds.
well, yeah, because he
I
tried
was
to
just
put
like, okay, I'm not even going to listen to what you have to say, John Gruden, because obviously you're wrong.
Oh yeah, he's clearly wrong, but he also tried to put himself above it. Like he tried to put himself above what was happening and being like, I'm more important. Like, isn't it kind of sad? Like, I'm going to use some terms here that might get me in a little bit of trouble here, but that's okay. That typical old school white guy, like, I'm going to put myself above this, and it's going to be okay no matter what. The moment, that's pretty much what you did, and now that's going to end up really biting you in the ass now, homie, because that's not how you play this, okay? 20 years ago, sure,
It would have been
that
okay.
tactic would have worked, and
Yeah.
it would have gone away. Nowadays, you literally just sealed your own coffin.
Oh, completely.
You sealed your own coffin with this.
And it was so crazy to watch it happen in real life.
Right. Like, it was like there was points of that interview, that whole press conference where I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, I wish I was sitting there in the room, because I would have been like, is this actually happening? Like, is he really doing this right now? Like, is he really trying to basically say, like, what? No.
Basically, his whole
no.
career was for naught, because he couldn't just accept the fact that maybe he said some things that were really racist and homophobic, and maybe if he had just apologized for it and actually said, I'm going to do better.
Well, here's the thing. He did kind of quote unquote apologize,
But it
wasn't a real. No, it wasn't sincere, because he didn't say, "I am sorry for the things that I said. I'm going to do better." That would have saved his career.
Right.
What he said was, "I am sorry for the people that I offended with the comments that were made," which basically says that you do not apologize for the comments. That means that you apologize that people got offended at what you said.
Not
That's
about
not
what
an
you
apology.
said.
You never apologize for what you said. You apologize for the fact that somebody else got offended, which means that you're putting yourself above that person.
Completely.
That's not an apology. I'm sorry, but it's not.
No.
That's not an apology, motherfucker. That is literally you just sitting back and saying, well, sorry you got offended, homie. Oh, well, I'm going to keep on going and keep moving. No, you're not. Your time in this league is done.
You're sinking into the quicksand, buddy.
Yep. You're just keep on going, dude. You're like that, in the quicksand, like that fucking dude in the old school 60s fucking whatever. You're trying to grasp him and you're just sinking because, You're better. Your best fucking bet at this point is to pretty much just put that thumbs up like Arnold in T2 and just accept your fucking fate.
Oh yeah.
That's all you can do at this point, because you can do anything to freaking salvage your own career at this point, and that fucking sucks. And holy cow, man, we're actually about to go our longest ever podcast here. We're wrapping in at 2 hours. But yes, go ahead and maybe start wrapping things up here. Just want to throw a couple things. So yeah, we are officially back. Going to be back every Wednesday here. I'm going to be having this up here on through Anchor to Spotify and Apple and Google and everything here within the next hour. Well, here relatively shortly after we close things up. I will hopefully be able to get week 3's video for podcast up on YouTube and Facebook here, hopefully today, because we actually have a good internet connection, and I'll actually be able to do it this time.
I wonder if that was because it was in my basement.
Well, the live stream going down was an issue on that. But the recording was fine. I needed to. What happened was that when I was trying to upload it, because we were at the other place and country bumpkin internet, and it was slow and terrible. It was taking forever. Like the one, it took 2 whole days to freaking do. So hopefully off of this, I'll be able to actually have this up here tonight. So we're going to get that up there here for you guys soon. Be sure to check us out here, The Leap, at Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. Anybody who's hitting us up, I do want to say this, guys. Try to hit us up on TikTok here, man. That is the one channel that I'm trying to grow the most here at the moment, simply because I want to try to hit the 1,000 follower mark, because that gives us the ability to live stream on there. So that's going to get, so anybody who's listening to this right now, please hit us up, the Leap Football Podcast on TikTok. Hit us up on there. Check us out on, at wherever you guys get your podcasts, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, Google. We're on all the major outlets for that. And, just be sure to try to send us some love here, man. Like, we're wanting to keep going on this and doing the best.
Football.
Yeah, we love football. I'm not going to lie, man. We really love doing this. We want to try to grow this as much as possible.
It's a blast.
Yeah, man. Like,
can't think of anything better to do on a Wednesday on my day off.
Right, like
to hang out with this man and do this for all you guys.
Absolutely, man. This has been an absolute blast here. So all the people that have been giving us support here over the last month or so, all the people who have given us the subscribes, the likes, the shares, helping us through outreach out there. I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys Thank you guys for all the love, man, because this is what we love to do, and it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to keep making content. We can't wait to keep making content for you guys, because, and the big thing about TikTok for us is that I want to try to get on there with is that it gives an additional streaming outlet, and it gives an additional bit of discoverability there for us. But yeah, on that note, guys, I want to again thank you guys for all the support that you guys have been giving us here, and we'll definitely be seeing you guys here next week.
Yeah.
And like I said, we'll have everything up here on everything in the next hour or so. But until next week, I am Steve Lucas.
I'm Tim Hughes.
And you guys have a great week, man.